Michael, big turnaround from Perth. What did you put that down to?
Look, it's pretty raw. It's pretty close to the finish, but I think early on we soaked up a bit of pressure early on, and then when we actually started to get a fair bit of momentum, we got a good run in the game, and we were gonna. In order to succeed here, we had to put some doubt into the opposition's mind, and we needed to put some points on the board there, and we got close on several occasions, both with some kicks and also with the ability to score a try to create more doubt there, which we didn't do. And then on the first transition of that momentum, we took a try. And then I'd say on top of that, I think that sort of settled things down for their side. And then I think we were inconsistent at the ruck, which is an area we were strong last week, and also inconsistent at the scrum, which is an area that we performed well into last week. And that inconsistency didn't really allow us to get any type of dominance after that.
Check, what do you put down to the reasons for the shortcomings at the scrum right from the start?
Well, they got a lot closer to us than we were, than we expected, because of the way that we've been practicing, I suppose, with the new regulations. So they were able to get closer to us, and we weren't able to, I suppose, get the speed across the line that we'd like to get. But that's part of the deal. You got to try and negotiate those things on the run on the field, and then it was a bit more of a closed contest, I suppose, in there, and we didn't handle those. We did on some occasions handle them well, and then on others we let the scrum turn a little bit as opposed to trying to keep it square, and even if it didn't go forward, just keep it in a good position so we could play with that footy.
Check, how do you ensure that the confidence is not dented from this result building to the World Cup?
Confidence won't be dented. Obviously disappointment is there. Right, we got back home. Everyone was pumped for the game. They were excited about the after game one, and we're so disappointed that that we weren't able to keep those people. Give them what they expected. At the end of the day, in the results, but and make them proud of us. But regardless, mate, we've improved a lot since 18. A lot on the field and off the field. We have to take it. We have to take it on the chin, and make sure that if there's going to be something, if this is going to happen to you, that you understand one or two key things that you should take forward so we can be successful in the World Cup.
Michael Hooper, a similar thing happened in 2015, where there was a big loss at Eden Park in a decider, and you were able to manufacture a successful World Cup campaign. On the back of that, can you do something similar?
Yeah, I think we can. I think Michael, talked about where we've come from last year. I mean, it's different situations 4 years later with a lot of different players within the squad. Look, we had a lot of growth and momentum building in the last couple of weeks, and we're able now to have a look at how we can really get better and improve in these situations. I think we lost. Michael talked about the situation where they got a try after we had a good run there a bit, and we struggled to get back from that.
Michael Checker, can you respond on that? Do you think you're in a similar position to 4 years ago? Clearly, you've been in the job for longer.
Well, I suppose aesthetically, like from the results, yeah, maybe, but there's no real relevance. It's about what we're doing in this year in particular. So, mate, if you ask me, if you ask me how I'm feeling yesterday or before the game, I'm feeling really good about the improvements that we've made and as terribly disappointed as I am about the game, I'm not just going to throw those away, am I? I've got to put them into context. Take what, keep trying to build on those things, and don't let this be resilient. Don't let this get you down. Like, yes, you're going to be sad, but and disappointed, but suck it up and get ready for the next one. You know what I mean? And get moving forward for the next game and build into the World Cup just how we've always planned to.
Chick. Taniela came on and made a pretty big impact off the bench, both in the scrums and around the field. Is he pushing for a starting role?
Yeah, the props have all been competing strong with each other. I think Alan Alatoa has been a standout all year in Super Rugby. His work ethic, his work rate, has been outstanding. That's what's got him straight back in as soon as he came back into the team. So he's only had that game and a half now, or the 2 games he came off, I suppose, just a touch after half time with a head knock. But he'll build more and he'll grow into that role. And we're lucky, Keps wasn't even playing tonight, so it's about making sure we're really consistent with how we want to scrum more than anything, and don't settle for anything else. Make sure that what we want to create out there in the scrum, that we deliver on game night.
Check, how did you see the kicking game tonight? You happy with that and where that's at leading into the World Cup?
With our kicking game, I actually thought we kicked a couple of times we didn't need to. Could have kept the ball. Like, we want to play footy with the ball, so we know how dangerous they can be as well. Obviously, the conditions make it a little bit trickier when it comes to kicking. But I thought we cleared when we needed to with enough comfort. And then I just thought that the couple of times we kicked it when we didn't need to, a little bit like that sort of middle of stage of the last week's game. Just keep playing footy, and then when it's on our terms and we feel like we're good to go, then you can put a kick in, to get the field position. But it's not something that's standing out at me and going, on either way, to be honest.
Michael, what's the nature of Rory's injury?
He's just got a small fracture in his hand. But look, we could have played him tonight, I think, but I didn't want to. Coleman needs games. Simmons is there. We don't want to risk that getting any, before the World Cup, that becoming a bigger fracture. Yeah.
So no doubt for
the
World Cup or anything. And the drop ball, just the errors. I know when the pressure really ramped up, there were more of those, but there were quite a few early on as well. What do you put that down to?
Look, I don't. I wouldn't know the count off the top of my head, of just clean drop ball. Thought in the first part of the game, like I said, we had actually really good continuity. But I think that we didn't, like I said previously, we weren't able to be as good as we wanted to be at the ruck, or as consistent. Sometimes we were really good, and sometimes we weren't in the place we needed to be at the attacking ruck to create that go forward ball, and then that puts a little bit of pressure. A lot of that stuff was was around the ruck. They got in at the halfback, spoiled a bit of ball, and then that transfer sometimes caused the issue. I think the one, the handling one where we gave away the try, just our alignment was a little bit too flat there, because we know they're going to come and close it there. So there's small things, but it's about how you convert the opportunities you get, and they converted tonight, and we certainly didn't.
Michael, do the results of the last 2 weeks, with obviously both teams having the chance to show how good they can be, do they show how wide open this World Cup's going to be?
Oh, look, I don't know, mate. I'm not a great predictor when it comes to that stuff. Of course, it's the World Cup, so all the teams are there and they're all going to be firing, and everyone's going to be ready to go. So it's going to be a tight tournament, and it's tight margins, as we saw in the last one. All teams went through very tight games, but mate, the prediction thing isn't really necessary for us. It's just about getting ready for what's coming next, and then the nature of knockout competitions, which pretty much World Cup is knockout. Some teams can get through losing a game on the odd occasion, but it's pretty much a knockout comp, and you want to only be focusing on what's coming next and not how open it might be across a team that you may not even play.
Michael Hooper, what was the feeling out in the ground after they'd scored a couple of tries in quick succession? What was the feeling within the group?
We had to get back on task, mate. Like, you can't sleep on these guys. Like, we they managed to get. We probably did that once or twice early on in the game, and they went try to try. So talking about that situation at the end, we're trying to get back on task, get our guys back into the game with some of those short kickoffs, which were close to paying off there and getting us back into attack.
Michael Hooper, did you have any qualms about how the match was officiated? I know you had a bit of chat with the referee about Nick White being taken out in particular quite a lot.
I didn't talk to Jarko about that. No.
Okay. You were fine with how all that was officiated?
I need to watch the game for that sort of stuff. You know, everything's happening so rapid on the field. You're pulling your head out of some pretty brutal contacts. Like a very physical nature of that game. We'll go back, look, and have feedback with the appropriate guys.
Okay. And Chick, just in terms of your World Cup selection, was it a case after Perth that you perhaps decided, right, I've got a group of guys here that are going? Now after tonight, you're having to revisit it a wee bit, maybe?
No, we wouldn't have preempted anything. We just wanted all the games to play out, and then we'll sit down early in the week and get it done.
Michael Hooper, you just mentioned the brutality of the game. Have you felt a more intensely physical All Blacks performance than that against you?
Oh, it's hard to make comparison right now. I mean, after every game, you're pretty sore.
Michael Hooper, that's 4 games now with the same loose forward trio. How do you feel the balance is between you three, and how does that differ from when you've got David in there with you?
David's on-ball presence is obviously a huge factor. You know, the guy's best in the world in that area. But, in saying that, I've been really impressed with Issy over the ball. He's a couple games into his Test career, and the guy's been really putting up his hand, along with Luke Kahn. Really enjoying playing with those sort of guys. We're getting some nice continuity there, and probably didn't get into the game as much as we would have liked with some ball carry and stuff like that. But hey, we're going to have a review. We'll build on that, and Dave's looking good. So it's going to be some good back row combinations coming up.